Coming up on today's show, European automakers plan to take on Tesla with a new super-fast electric charging network, 4 capital cities ban diesel cars for good, and Nikola unveils 2 trucks it wants to revolutionize the world with. These stories and more next on T.E.N. Like all our content, today's show is only possible thanks to the kind donations of viewers like you. Head to www.patreon.com/transportevolved to find out how you can make your own donation today to keep us independent and impartial. And if you're already donating, thanks for your continued support. It's Friday, December 2nd, 2016. I'm Nikki Gordon-Bloomfield, and we're starting today's show with the news that Daimler, Ford, Volkswagen and BMW, as well as their respective associated brands, are joining forces to establish a new super-fast charging network across Europe for electric cars based on an 800-volt next-generation iteration of the CCS Quick Charge standard. Announced on Tuesday this week, construction on the new network will begin next year, with a total of 400 super-fast charging stations due to be installed across the continent by 2020, just in time for the launch of new long-range cars from each of the involved automakers. How fast is fast? Well, 350 kilowatts, enough to charge a 90 kilowatt-hour battery pack from empty to 80% full in just 15 minutes. And that, in case you were wondering, is more than twice the power of Tesla's supercharger network, making us wonder just what Tesla will do to match this new maker-agnostic network. Given some of the companies involved are rolling out Tesla competitors, we're guessing Tesla will have to think fast to ensure it keeps its competitive edge against its rivals. Something else that's going after Tesla's market, or be the market for the yet-to-launch Tesla Model 3, is the Chevrolet Bolt EV, which goes on sale later this month in launch markets of California and Oregon, USA. And this week, Chevy's parent company, General Motors, pushed the official Chevy Bolt EV online configurator, showing us for the first time just how much you'll be paying for the first sub-$40,000 200-mile electric car to go on sale. First things first, yes, if you're looking to get the entry-level Bolt EV LT, you'll be able to nab the plug-in car for $37,495 before incentives. But for that, you won't be given many of the bells and whistles of the higher-end Premier model, which starts at a higher $41,780 before incentives. Interestingly too, neither trim levels feature DC quick charging as standard, which is a whopping $750 option for those who want it. Moreover, if you tick every option box, you're going to be spending upwards of $44,000 before incentives, which hardly makes this car affordable for most. Still, with some pretty impressive lease deals in the pipeline, expect quite high sales at launch, although, if I'm honest, I've yet to see anything that will give this car the competitive edge in the mid-priced long-range EV marketplace. Admittedly, that marketplace only includes the Bolt EV right now, which takes me on to another market space occupied by just one car, the plug-in minivan segment. And that takes me to the Chrysler Pacifica hybrid minivan, which this week received its official fuel economy ratings from the EPA. First off, don't let the name fool you. Despite not having the word plug-in in its name, the Pacifica Hybrid is a plug-in minivan capable of an EPA-approved 33 miles of range from its 16 kilowatt-hour onboard battery pack at an equivalent fuel economy of 84 mpge. Interestingly, since the EPA hasn't put the Pacifica Hybrid on its fueleconomy.gov website yet, we don't know what the fuel economy of the vehicle's Pentastar V6 gasoline engine, which has been modified to run on the Atkinson cycle for fuel economy. Given the size of the minivan, however, we're guessing somewhere in the 20 mpg category is what you can expect when the battery has run flat. In other words, it's a great errand-running car for busy parents who need to carry a lot of stuff during the week on lots of small trips to charge in between, but to go and see Granny at the weekends. We'll have to wait and see if I'm right. Earlier this year, Tesla Motors unveiled a new next-generation version of the Autopilot autonomous vehicle hardware installed as standard into every Tesla vehicle made since 2014. Developed in-house rather than in collaboration with a third-party supplier, as the first-generation hardware was, Tesla says that its new V2 Autopilot hardware would make it possible for the company to roll out full Level 5 autonomous vehicle capabilities in the next few years for all Teslas made after October 2016, opening the door for a whole new way of vehicle ownership and use. But while the hardware is more advanced, Tesla's first iteration of Autopilot for cars fitted with it was less capable than the most advanced V1 Autopilot software and hardware. Luckily, however, that will soon no longer be the case, with Tesla promising this week that Autopilot version 8.1 software, due to roll out in the next week or two, will solve that problem and make cars with V2 Autopilot hardware the most advanced semi-autonomous cars on the road today. I can't wait to try it out. Over the past few weeks, we've been covering the shift of attitudes of Japanese automaker Toyota towards electric cars, documenting the inexorable shift away from a 100% hydrogen fuel cell future into one in which electric vehicles have at least a joint role to play alongside them. So far, we've heard Toyota promise a new all-electric model developed in-house by 2020, and the establishing of a new in-house elite team of engineers tasked with essentially helping Toyota catch up with the competition. Well, this week, we heard that fronting that new group will be none other than Akio Toyoda, Toyota CEO and respected automotive engineer in his own right. Toyoda, who played a big part in the development of the Toyota Mirai fuel cell sedan, will keep the electric car team in check and, I'm guessing, play a role in helping test any resulting vehicles, just as he did with its oh-so-expensive limited production fuel cell car. What will they come up with? Well, we're just going to have to wait and see. In the aftermath of Dieselgate, we've already seen many automakers work hard to distance themselves from diesel engine technology, cancelling plans for new diesel models and focusing instead on cleaner technologies like electrified drivetrains. Well, this week, that effort may be given a push thanks to an agreement signed by the cities of Paris, Mexico City, Madrid and Athens, all of which say they will ban the use of diesel vehicles on their streets by 2025. With pressure on for other cities to join in, including London, these cities can look forward to cleaner skies and better air quality for all. But while the agreement is good news, it's going to take a whole lot more cities to sign on before we see a marked change around the world. And with more and more climate deniers occupying roles of leadership around the world, that might not be as easy as it first appears. Earlier on in today's show, we told you about a new super-fast charging network being planned for Europe, and now it's time to talk about one of the cars that will make use of it, the upcoming Porsche Mission E electric sports sedan. That's because this week, Porsche announced its intent to produce somewhere in the region of 20,000 Mission E electric cars per year after launch. That's far less than the number of cars Tesla will churn out this year, but it is about 10% of Porsche's current annual vehicle production. Obviously, Porsche isn't a big volume automaker, but this news, disclosed during an interview Porsche CEO Oliver Blume had with Automobile Vosch, shows that Porsche is at least now taking electric vehicles a little more seriously than it once did. The question? What price it'll have to hit in order to sell those 20,000 cars and not lose out to Tesla. And that's one I'm not sure I can answer. From high-end cars now to Ford, the company that made the car affordable for all. And while we'll have to admit that Ford's track record on electric cars hasn't been all that great to this point, that Ford Focus Electric has been treated as nothing more than a compliance car, it is slowly starting to come around to a future with more electric cars in its lineup. And this week, we got some good news about its 2017 iteration of its Focus EV, a car which, until now, has been sold with just a 76-mile EPA-approved range per charge. That's going to change for 2017, however, thanks to an improved, larger capacity battery pack that manages a 115 miles of EPA-approved range per charge. And that puts Ford Focus EV on par with the 2017 Nissan LEAF, 2017 Volkswagen e-Golf and 2017 BMW i3 in the range charts, as well, of course, just behind the 2017 Hyundai Ioniq EV, which launches with a 124-mile range per charge. Sure, it's not the Tesla Model 3 or Chevy Bolt EV, but it is good to see Ford realise that 76 miles per charge really isn't enough to remain competitive today. Another car due to get a bit of an upgrade in the not-too-distant future is the BMW i3, at least according to the reports from British magazine Autocar. No, I'm not talking about a larger capacity battery pack either. I'm talking about a sportier model of the i3 that follows in BMW's long line of performance-oriented models. Details are sparse, but it's suggested that the sportier BMW i3 would increase its motor power and torque, slashing 0 to 60 times and essentially making an M-style version of the i3 for those who like to drive hard and fast. Having driven the BMW i3 on track, however, I'm also hoping that there are some significant improvements to suspension and wheel design too. While the i3 is great on the road and super efficient, it's always felt a little high for true sporty driving. I know plenty of i3 owners who've made their own modifications for just that reason. So hey, I'm guessing if BMW can do it, they can do it as well, right? We're off to Utah now, where startup firm Nikola Motors unveiled not one but two new plug-in hydrogen hybrid trucks on Thursday night that it says will revolutionize the trucking world forever. Taking a page from Tesla's book, Nikola's plan is to build and operate its own hydrogen fueling infrastructure for its customers to use, with the hydrogen itself generated using low-carbon methods such as solar-powered electrolysis. The trucks themselves, the Nikola One, coming with a sleeper cab, and Nikola Two with day cab, can travel more than 1,200 miles between fill-ups and feature onboard chargers as well, so you can plug in at night at a convenient charging station and power on electricity. But what's particularly interesting about these two vehicles is that Nikola Motors wants to lease rather than sell them to customers, with truckers and haulage firms paying between $5,000 and $7,000 per month for the privilege. That will cover all service costs too, as well as fuel, and says the company will ensure that drivers get new vehicles every 72 months or 1 million miles, whichever comes first. I'm not that familiar with the haulage world, but I do know that truckers can pay upwards of $100,000 for their rigs, so I'm interested to see how the industry responds to this lease rather than traditional ownership model. And it should save money and the planet too. And finally, if you're a Nissan LEAF owner, you'll be familiar with the LEAF telematics system that comes as standard with mid and high-level LEAF models. And by extension, you're probably aware that the telematics system Nissan installed in 2011 through 2015 model year LEAFs will just stop working at the end of this year in North America, when all remaining 2G cell phone towers are retired and switched to 4G access. Well, way back at the start of the year, Nissan promised an upgrade package will be available for customers wanting to upgrade their car's telematics before the end of the year. Yet here we are at nearly the end of the year and nothing has been officially said yet. Except I've got it on good authority that early next week, Nissan will announce its hardware upgrade program for existing LEAF owners, as well as how much it will cost to upgrade to a 3G compatible telematics unit, and all the other information that comes with. So keep your ears perked and your eyes peeled, and I'll hope to have a full update for you this time in next week's show. Until then, that's your lot for today. As always, thanks for joining me, and please don't forget to leave your reactions and thoughts to the stories that we've covered today in the comments below, as well as giving us a thumbs up and a share if you liked it, and if you didn't, give us a thumbs down and tell us why, because, well, otherwise, you know the thing, we can't improve. Don't forget that you can follow us on Twitter at TransportEvolved, you can read our past and current articles at transportevolved.com, or check out our YouTube channel for our latest in video updates. And if you liked what you saw today, please do consider keeping us independent and impartial by supporting our Patreon crowdfunding campaign from as little as just $1 per month over at patreon.com/transportevolved. Every donation makes a difference, so if you can, your help is really appreciated. We want to start a new show soon that's going to cost more to produce. Can't donate? Don't worry, just spread the word, retweet our posts on Twitter, and make sure you tell your friends about our YouTube channel. As always, I'll try to be back next week with another roundup of the latest Transport Evolved news. So all that's left for me to say is I'm Nikki Gordon-Bloomfield. Have a great weekend, and until next time, keep evolving.